morning students. I again welcome you to your online classes, and today we are going to start a new topic, that is active voice and passive voice. Active passive voice. Now we all have studied about verbs. Okay, so there were two kinds of verbs, transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Now transitive verb had an object, whereas intransitive verb did not have any object. So, active verb and passive voice, actually it is used only in a transitive verb. Means any sentence it should have an object. Only then passive and active, the passive voice can be formed. So, a transitive verb has two voices. See, a transitive verb has two voices. And what are these two voices? These are active and passive. So, active passive voice. Now let's look at sentences. For example, you understand better through example, isn't it? So let us see this example. The hunter shot the tiger. The hunter shot the tiger. Now, what is the hunter? It is a subject. Now, in a sentence, we do have subject and predicate, isn't it? So, here, this is the subject. And what is the verb here? This is the verb here. And where is the object? The tiger is the object here. And this is the subject. Now here you can see that who is doing the work? Hunter is doing the work. Hunter shot the tiger. So the action is done by the subject. Whereas who is receiving the action? The tiger. The object is receiving the action. So whenever the subject is the doer of the action and object is the receiver of the action, we call it active voice. What sort of voice is this? This is called active voice. Why active? Because the subject is doing action. The subject is the doer of the action. Now, we can change this sentence into passive voice. How? By changing the place of the subject and object. We'll just reverse their place. We'll put the object here and we can transfer the subject there. Let us do. The tiger was shot by the hunter. Now here the situation is reversed. Okay. Now here the tiger was shot by the hunter. Now who is the receiver of the action? The tiger. Now here the tiger becomes the subject and subject is the receiver of the action. Subject is receiving the action, isn't it? Is receiving the action. And here subject was the doer of the action. The tiger was shot by the hunter. So the tiger was shot by the hunter. Now here hunter becomes object. So here, this voice we call it passive voice. This is called passive voice. Okay, let's take another look. In the first sentence, the subject is the doer of the action, whereas in the second sentence, subject is the receiver of the action. So, when the subject is the doer of the action, we call this voice as active voice, and when the subject is the receiver of the action, we call it as the passive voice. I hope you must have understood these two. Now, let's look at further few more examples. Now, students, let's look at this table here. The following table will help you to know that how in all the tenses, these tenses, how you can change the voice from active to passive. And we can also reverse it from passive to active also just by using this table. Okay, so first you will learn how to change from active to passive by using this table. So you can always pause the video and take a note down of this whole table. It should be there in your copies. Now let us see the simple present tense. Simple present, the formula is here. Is MR plus V3. What is V3? It is past participle, the third form of the verb. Simple past. The formula is was, were plus V3. Present perfect. Has, have plus been plus V3. Again past participle. Now you will notice that in all the tenses, in the passive voice formula you will find V3 is there. That means the third form of the verb is always applied there. So this you have to keep in mind. And one thing you must always remember, that if a sentence in active voice is given to you in any tense, you don't have to change the tense of it. The tense should remain the same. Okay, like if it is simple present, it will remain simple present only. This simple present formula you will follow for changing from active to passive. If the sentence is given in past tense, then simple past formula, this formula you will apply, and V3 will also be there everywhere. So this you have to keep in mind, that in active passive we don't change tense. The tense remains unchanged. Okay. So now come to this one, present perfect. Present perfect, has, have plus been plus V3. This formula you have to apply. For the past perfect, had plus been plus V3. Now being, the be form, this you have to insert here. For continuous, ing form you have to apply. So for present continuous, same. Is and are, this is present, isn't it? So present is there, and for continuous we are using the ing form of the be. Okay. So is and are plus being plus V3. Wherever continuous comes, being form is used. See? And then past continuous, same. Was, were plus being plus V3. Same. Only being we are applying, inserting here. Why? Because it is continuous. That is why. Now let us come to this simple future. You know that we use will and shall for future. So will, shall plus be plus V3 again. And for future perfect, will, shall plus have plus been plus V3. Now perfect continuous tense is not used in your active passive voice. So you just have to learn these. Now there are some regular also and irregular active passive voice that will do it afterwards. So first you should note down the table, this table, and this table should be there in your copy so that whenever you want to refer to any sentence, you can easily open this table and refer. Now let us try and understand what happens when a transitive verb has two objects. You know that transitive verb must have an object. Suppose if the child gave a pencil. Now this is transitive verb. The child gave a pencil. Okay. The child is subject, this is verb, and this is another noun which is object. This is subject and this is verb. The child gave a pencil. Now suppose if any transitive verb, if it has got two objects. So for example, the king gave the commander a reward. Now here in this sentence, you will find that there are two objects. This is your subject. This is your verb. The commander, one noun, and a reward, another noun. So this is object 1 and this is object 2. Isn't it? And this is also called transitive. This is because it has got two objects, so we call it ditransitive. Di means two. So ditransitive. This we have already studied when we were doing verbs. Okay, so you can see that video again if you want. So whenever you have two objects, now in this case we can we can change this particular sentence into passive voice in two ways. For example, we can take one object at a time. Okay, like the commander. This is the first. Let us make the first one. The commander. Now this is past tense, so we'll take the past form here only. The commander was given. Given is the third form, B3 of the verb. Was given a reward by the king. Isn't it? This is one sentence. And second also you can make by using a reward. Okay, so let us, a reward was given. Same. A reward was given to the commander by the king. Now in this way we can frame passive voice in two ways by using one object at a time, isn't it? So this you must keep in mind. So when you have only one, we can make that sentence in one way only. But when you have two objects in a sentence, you can frame. And either sentence is both are correct. So either sentence can be written. If suppose one child writes this and the other child writes this, it doesn't mean that he is going to get wrong. No, he will get full marks for it because both the ways are correct. By using any object, they can make passive voice of that sentence. Now just look at the table here. This you have to keep in mind that whenever the sentences, the personal pronouns are used as subject. These are the personal pronouns. When they are used as subject, and when you change that sentence into a passive voice, they change their forms. I will change into me, we will change into us, he into his, she into her, and they into them. For example, a sentence, let us take, I surprised everyone. Okay, so I am using this I surprised everyone. Now if I am changing it into passive voice, how How will I change? I'll change this. Take it here. Everyone was. Why was? Because this is past tense. Everyone was surprised by. I cannot write I. I'll change it into me. By me. Same thing if I write here we. If I write here we surprised everyone. Then what are we going to write here? Everyone was surprised by us. Isn't it? If we write he surprised everyone. Everyone was surprised by him. Here we will be changing. Then she surprised everyone. Everyone was surprised by her. They surprised everyone. Everyone was surprised by them. So in this way you are going to change. Okay. I hope you must have understood this table also. So this you have to keep in mind. Now let us look at agentless passive structure. What are agentless passive structure? Now you let us write one active voice sentence first. Okay, like Ali gave pictures. Ali gave pictures to Bhanu. Now this is active voice sentence. Active voice. Why active voice? Because the subject is the doer of the action. Who is doing the action? The subject is doing the action. Now let us change this into a passive voice. So Bhanu will change the place of the objects. Bhanu was given the pictures by Ali. Now what is agent here? Agent means who is doing here the work. So Bhanu was given the pictures by Ali. This is the by form. So this by form is called agent. This is agent. Agent. And if we omit this agent, it will become agentless. Okay, it will become agentless passive structure. And why? Many a times we don't mention agent. Why? Because actually it is not important. Now who is giving pictures to Bhanu is not important, but Bhanu is being given the picture, that is more important. So what it is, just to put emphasis on this work. This work is more important than who is giving. So when the agent, in some sentences like agent is not that important and it is not required, so we omit this agent. So if you write a sentence like this, Bhanu was given the pictures. Full stop. Now no Ali. We are not going to mention the agent. Who is giving the picture we are not mentioning, but who is being given the picture, that is more important. So who possesses those picture is more important. So this sentence we call it agentless passive sentence. It is a passive sentence and we don't have any agent, so it becomes agentless. Now in your exercise also many times they will mention in the bracket that frame agentless passive structure. So in that case what you have to do, you have to omit the agent, you have to cross the agent and it will become agentless passive structure. Now let us take another thing, that is changing WH forms to passive voice. Now I told you in the beginning only that in active passive voice we don't change the tense. So we are not going to change the tense. But even if a sentence is an interrogative sentence, if it is a question sentence, then in active voice, in passive voice also you will have to make a interrogative sentence only, question sentence only. That means you cannot change the type also. If it is interrogative, it will remain interrogative only. So let's take an example to understand it better. Um, a question. When did you return the book? So this is WH. When, question interrogative sentence, question mark is there. So when did you return the book? Now did is what? This is past tense, isn't it? And this is one object. And this is another. So when did you return the book? Again, if you want to change it into a passive voice, how will you change it? Same for the past tense, we are going to use the same formula which we had used, like was. So when did you return the book? So when, the interrogative word will come there only. When was the book returned by you? The place of subject will be changed. So this was our subject, obviously. So when did you return the book? This was an interrogative sentence, and now this was active. This was active sentence, and here it is. This is passive. Passive interrogative only. Okay. So when was the book returned by you? Now see here. This is agent. What is this? This is agent. Now suppose if I think that this is not important, but when was the book returned? The time is more important for the person to know. In that case, we can omit this. Okay, and it can be written as when was the book returned? And question mark. So this is agentless interrogative sentence. Okay, this you call it. This is agentless interrogative sentence. Isn't it? So I hope you must have understood this also, and you will be able to frame all your sentences. If it is interrogative, you have to keep it interrogative only. You cannot make some other sentence. No. And if agent is not required, you can omit that agent and agent will become agentless. So whenever asked agentless, you have to omit agent. Now let us see another thing, that is transforming imperative sentences. Like if you have got some active sentences in for imperative sentence. Imperative means command. You know. Command sentences like order sentences, shut the door, close the window. So all these are imperative sentences, that is command sentence. Now suppose if you get command sentences, in that case how you are going to change it into passive voice? So that's a different thing. Now we can use many words, for example as you are asked, requested, okay, then told, then there are many, okay, so there are others also. And sometimes, many times you can use the word let. For example, if a sentence is given, shut the door. we change? Let the door be shut. Okay, let the door be shut. Isn't it? Take another sentence. Start your presentation. Now in this case, you are asked to start the presentation. Now take another sentence like be seated. Suppose be seated. To sit down. So only two words are there. So be seated. So you are asked. You are asked to sit down. Now any sentence starting with please. So that means like please do not talk loudly. Like suppose this is a sentence. Please do not talk loudly. So please. So request. So here you are requested not to talk loudly. This way we can make it, isn't it? Let's take another sentence like please leave. Please L-E-A-V. Please leave. So again two words. So you are requested to leave or you are asked to leave. It's not compulsory that if please is written you have to use request, but it's better if you use request. Okay. But here please leave. So you are asked to leave. Now in this case also you are not going to change the tense. Okay, you have to keep in mind. Be seated. This is past tense. So you are asked. This is to leave, to be seated, to sit down. Now please leave. You are asked to leave. Please do not talk loudly. You are requested not to talk loud. So this is imperative sentence. Some are command sentence, order sentence also like shut the door, let the door be shut. So we can use, so these are all irregular ones. So you have to keep in mind that what all things you can use. You can use asked, request, told, etc. And even let can be used. So you can. Now children, when we studied non-finite verbs, in that we have already done infinitives. What are infinitives? The verb which takes to before it. Those words are called infinitives. So let us take an example and understand. So even if infinitives are there in the sentence of active voice, you can change that into passive voice also. But some transformation, some change is required there. So what is the change? Let us see through an example. So take an example like the principal wanted to inform you about the meeting. Now what is infinitive here? Which verb is taking to before it? This. So this is infinitive, isn't it? So the principal wanted to inform you about the meeting, or the principal wanted you to inform about the meeting. Now after principal we have two objects here, isn't it? the meeting also. So how we can change it into passive voice? This will remain there only. The principal wanted you to be informed about the meeting. Now here what we have done, what transformation, what change is there? Is this. We have inserted B and this is V3, third form of the word informed, and we are inserting B also here. So auxiliary B. Okay. So the principal wanted you to be informed about the meeting. So this way you can frame infinitives also if they are there in the active voice. So you can change infinitives in passive structures also by inserting B and writing V3. You must always remember that in passive voice always V3 comes. So wherever you find verb, try to sort out the third form of the verb of it and then you can apply that. And if you are going to apply that anyhow, your sentence is going to come correct.